Good evening, Shabbat Shalom to the 12 tribes of the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that are scattered into the four corners of the earth, according to Bible prophecy. Welcome. Welcome also to those who are not of the prophesied bloodline of the 12 tribes of Israel, but are, as it were, seeking salvation and righteousness through the Messiah, the line of the tribe of Judah, and the Father Yahweh, grafted into the nation. Greetings. Blessings upon those that are working in the healthcare field trying to save lives. Blessings also upon those that pick up garbage for us to keep the streets and the sidewalks clean. Blessings also upon those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings upon those trying to deliver, trying to help, trying to rescue boys and girls, men and women, teenagers from the clutches of human trafficking and sex slavery operations. And curses upon those that practice the things of prostitution or support the practice of prostitution and child prostitution and pornography and child pornography and pedophilia and child molestation. Curses upon them. Finally, blessings upon those that are homeless. 600,000 men, women, children, families, and veterans on the streets of the United States of America, and the numbers are growing. And millions around the world in even worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. And blessings also upon those who, even in small ways, are trying to help. Welcome and blessings to the chat, Sister Bathaman, Brother Williams, Brother Kelly, Brother Holloway, Sister Wade, Sister Kelly, Brother Kelly again, Sister Isha, Zadok, Azariah. Blessings and Shabbat Shalom to all of you. We are studying or continuing our study in the prophecy of Hosea. And we're going to go into a little bit of, I think that's, all right, let me just explain it this way. There are issues that people argue about. And brethren, let me explain something to you. When you have a conviction about something, there is no need to argue about it. The devil would have us being drawn into arguments, mostly senseless arguments, to detract us from receiving the righteousness of the Father, period. And the receiving of the righteousness of the Father would cause those of us of the remnant to be united. Okay? So the enemy would try his best to get us to argue over things that are not worth arguing about, in order to divide us and stop some of us from receiving the righteousness of the Father. It's that simple. It really is that simple. And so tonight we're going to go into one of those such subjects. And I don't want no arguments because I'm convicted on a certain way. And if you are not, that's fine. The thing is, brethren, very shortly, Messiah is going to return. And his kingdom is going to be established on this earth. And he is going to destroy and annihilate. Thank you, Brother Zadok. Blessings to you. He's going to destroy and annihilate all enemies of righteousness. Let me say that again. In a very short time, Messiah, Yahushua, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, is going to finish opening the seals of his book. And he's going to come and establish his kingdom on this earth, and he's going to annihilate and destroy all other kingdoms. And brethren, let me just explain to you that I think you already probably know. But at that time, he will reveal all things to us. the woman at the well that Messiah met, the Samaritan woman, she said pretty much what I'm just saying right here. And what she was speaking was truth. So let's take a look at that conversation between the Messiah and the woman at the well as we're getting ready to go into Hosea chapter 7. Hosea chapter 7. Let's see. I want to start where he starts reading her life, and she recognizes that he's reading her life, and she don't want him to do it anymore, so she changes the subject. Let me start. I'm going to start at verse 9 because this is very amusing as far as it shows that the Most High has a sense of humor as well as serious because of the teaching of truth in it. So let me start at verse 9 of Gospel of John chapter 4. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew or an Israelite, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews or Israelites have no dealings with the Samaritans. Yahweh answered and said unto her, if thou knewest the gift of Yahweh, and who it is that said to thee, give me to drink, thou wouldst have asked of him, and he would have given thee living water. The woman said unto him, Sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that living water? Art thou greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well, and drank thereof himself, and his children, and his cattle? Let me just stop right here and explain this to y'all. Jacob founded that well when he came and found his future wife, which was Rebecca. I'm sorry, not Rebecca, Rachel. And he took the top off the well and so she could water the flocks. It was there. And that was Ephraim. Later on, that became Joseph's son, Ephraim territory, of which Joshua, the son of Nun, was of that tribe. And that was the original capital of Israel. That was the original capital. That's where they first brought the Ark of the Covenant, right there. Now, later on, David brought it to Jerusalem in the tribe of Judah. But there was always a schism between the northern kingdom and that Ephraim and Judah because of that. And then when the Samaritans became Samaritans because of the Assyrian army coming and taking over the northern kingdom, that schism remained. And so it got even worse because now you had a mixture of Gentiles, or what was termed Gentiles, which was Assyrians, was really Shemites, but they call them Gentile, with the true Most High. And so the Samaritans were not allowed to participate in the building or the rebuilding of the temple, the second temple. They were not allowed to participate because they were Gentiles. So that schism just got worse. And that's why by this time you see the Israelites didn't deal with them. They didn't deal with the Israelites, right? So that's why she said, are you greater than our father? She called him our father Jacob because they were mixed. They were mixed with Assyrians as well as northern kingdom. And they mixed the worship. It was all messed up, right? Which we're going to see partly today in Hosea chapter 7. So that's why she asked him, are you greater than Jacob who gave us this well? Okay, verse 13. And she's talking to the one that was before Jacob, the Messiah. Let's take a look at this. Yahushua answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water, springing up into everlasting life. That's the Father's spirit of perfect righteousness. The Bible tells us that in John chapter 7. The woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water, that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Now, this is where he already knows Messiah who come from the Father. And so Father has given Messiah all power. He's given Messiah all foresight. Remember how he's described? A lamb with 7 horns and 7 eyes. He sees everything. He knows everything because he gets it from his Father. So he knew all about this woman. He knew all about her before she even met her. Okay. Matter of fact, he already knew he was going to meet her there. She didn't know. You see, brother, I want to point this out to you. Father Yah set life in motion on this planet. Okay, people say millions of years ago. Bible talks about a 6,000 year period, but however long ago it was, it don't matter. The point is, Father Yah set life in motion. And when you are seeking Father Yah and you meet up in certain events in your life, that event was ordained before the earth was created. You understand that? So when I met my wife in 1983, it was ordained before either of us was born. It was ordained of the Father. Didn't happen by, there's no coincidence with Yah. There's no coincidence. Remember we talked about the other day, Father handed Messiah the kingdom and had in the scroll all the names of the redeemed. Messiah didn't even open it yet. Messiah didn't know what's in there. Father already knew. And he knew before the earth was made. That's why Paul said he predestinated us in Messiah. Okay? Yes, there is such a thing as predestination because the Father has ordained. It's not that he causes anybody to make one choice or the other. He just already knows who's going to be born and what choice they're going to make. He's the only one that knows that. Messiah doesn't even know that, except when the Father reveals to him. Now you see how different it is. Messiah is Messiah, but Father is Father. And Messiah even say, I don't do anything, say anything, except I see it or do it or learn it from my Father. Okay? So before this woman was even thought about, Father already knew who she was going to be, and he had already ordained Messiah to meet her there that day. And it's the same with us. You don't run into Father. You know, people say, I found God. You ever see somebody? I found God. You don't find God. He already knew you. And he just opened your eyes. You see the difference? You say, I was searching. Yeah, you were searching, but he already knew you. And he was drawing you to himself. See, let me help some of y'all right now that may be searching. You searching for something, you don't know what you're searching for. You think maybe it's you're lonely, you need a spouse or whatever you need. You think it's money or whatever you think. Pray directly to your Father. And you pray to your Father in secret. And he'll reveal to you what he's already known about you and about your destiny. Pray to him. Because before you were thought about, he already knew you. He already knew Asatan. When he made him, he knew what he was going to come forth. He knew he was going to bring forth. He knew he was going to be a traitor. He knew the whole thing. When Messiah saw Judas coming, he already knew all about him. Knew all about him. Knew what he was going to be. That's why he told the 12. He said, have I not chosen you 12 and one of you is a devil? He already knew. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. Brethren, let me tell you something. Destiny fulfills, man. Destiny's fulfilled. He already knew what that man was going to be. And Messiah himself said, better for him if he hadn't been born. People sometimes born for that purpose, you know. So this woman at the well, she didn't know what was going to happen to her that day. Messiah did. Praise the Most High. So now, John chapter 4, let's continue. Verse 15. The woman said unto him, Sir, give me this water that I thirst not, neither come hither to draw. Yahushua said unto her, here's the test question. He said, go call thy husband and come hither. Go get your husband and come. Verse 17. The woman answered and said, I have no husband. It reminds me of that lady when the angel gave me the $10 and he told me to take the thing to 7A or whatever, and I put the envelope with the $10 in it, and the woman came knocking on my door. Remember, she came knocking on my door, and I said, The man, she said, I don't know no man, son. I don't live with no man. That's what she would tell it. That's what she would tell the Messiah. I had no husband, right? I got no husband. Now, Messiah, I'm not Messiah, so I just said, thank you, ma'am, and go about her way. But Messiah is trying to save this woman, right? So he says, thou hast well said, I have no husband, for thou hast had 5 husbands. And he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. In that says thou truly. So now she had been with 5 husbands. And she was with a man at that time that wasn't her husband. In other words, she was committing adultery. And he saw through what she was really looking for. How many people like that now? Out there running bars and running parties and going online dating, and they looking for the same thing this woman was looking for. The Messiah met her, right? He can meet any of us. And he said, thou hast well said, for thou hast had 5 husbands, and he whom thou now hast is not thy husband. That's it. You saying the truth. That man you living with now, that ain't your husband. Now she's embarrassed. I can almost see it. She's embarrassed. And she said, and the woman said to him, sir, I perceive you're a prophet. She wants to change the subject. Sir, I perceive you're a prophet. She wants to change the subject now. And now she says, our fathers worshipped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. See, by then, this fight between the northern kingdom and Judah had been going on for literally centuries. She was probably obviously born into it. So now you had Samaritans saying, Ephraim, this mountain here where Jacob gave us this well, and Ephraim, this is where the worship we're supposed to be worshiping. Because that's what Jeroboam, the son of Nebat from Ephraim, had done when he made the 2 golden calves and had the northern kingdom worshiping them 2 golden calves from Ephraim. See, we studying Hosea today. Right? So now they're arguing about where worship. She's like, we're supposed to worship here, and you're talking about we're supposed to go to Jerusalem. Because David moved the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem. Okay. Verse 21. Yahushua saith unto her, woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jew, to the Jew first. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. Who is he? Who is the Father seeking? The ones that want to worship him in what? In spirit and in truth. Brethren, it don't get no plainer than that. You can know right now, if your desire is to worship the Creator in the spirit and in truth, that is the spirit of righteousness and truth, you're one of his. That's why I say a person cannot control where they're born. They can't control who their 2 parents are that caused them to come forth. A person cannot control how much melanin they have in their skin when they're brought forth. And so Father knows. Bible says in the Psalm, this man was born here and this man was born there. It says he shall be noted where the man was born. The Bible says that in the Psalm. Because nobody can control where they're born, but every person can have a choice of whether they're seeking truth and righteousness or not. Every person, every human being that's an adult age that can make a decision can decide whether or not you want truth and righteousness or don't you. That's what it comes down to. We may not always agree, all right? But one thing that will make all of us brethren We're all seeking truth and righteousness for the glory of the Father. That's what makes us brethren. We're seeking truth and righteousness for the glory of the Father. You catch that? He said, the Father seeketh such to worship him. Well, look, he's looking for people that want to do what? Worship him. Our Satan is looking for people that want to do what? Worship him. That's Revelation 13 again, y'all. Our Satan is looking for people, even if he has to deceive you, to worship him. Father's looking for people to what? To worship him. Now, the difference is our Satan will take anybody that will believe anything. Father wants those people that are what? He said, the true worshipers are worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. That's all he wants. The ones that want to worship him in spirit and in truth. That's all he wants. He's not worried about how many they are, what color they are. He has a chosen people now, and he's going to have them. But that's not the criteria. Who wants to worship him in spirit and in truth? You understand? Verse 24. He says, Yah is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Yah is a spirit. What does that mean? When you look up the word spirit, it's going to tell you character. What character is Yah? He's righteous. He's righteousness and truth. The Messiah just gave you. Those that want to worship him in spirit and truth, that is righteousness and truth. That's what he is. It's impossible for him to lie because he's righteousness and truth. Again, this is what makes his servants different from the non-servants. They go up like Hebrews 11 say, he that cometh to Yah must believe that he is. Right? He that cometh to Yah, it says, without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to Yah must believe that he is, and that he's rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Seek him how? In spirit and in truth. See, again, we may not all be on the same pace right now. Some of us at different areas of the walk. But if the overall goal is to give glory to the Father in spirit and in truth, that means self is put out of it. And all of us going to end up on the same sea of glass at the end of the day. And this got to be pure in the sense that if I have another agenda, if my agenda is to build myself up and create followers for myself and build up my religious empire and have cars and planes and buildings and have people worshiping me, that's a different agenda. I could tell you I want spirit and truth, but I got a different agenda, and that agenda would spoil or rottenness the whole thing. I could be talking to y'all and be done. A lot of preachers like that. They talking to y'all and they're done because their agenda is not for the glory of the Father in spirit and in truth. It's for the glory somehow of man or woman, as it might be. Okay. And man will do all kinds of things to bring glory to man. They'll go through all kinds of things. The Father is seeking those human beings that want to worship him in the spirit of righteousness and in truth. Okay. Now, verse 25. The woman said unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ or Christos. See how they differentiated? The Israelites knew his name, the title, the proper title, Mashiach. The Greeks call him Christos because that's what the Greeks call their anointed ones. That's why she differentiated. It's like English today. Greek was the universal language at that time. And the Greeks call anybody that's anointed, that they considered anointed, no matter whether they pagan or not, Christos. But Father Yah called it Mashiach. And she differentiated. I know that Messiah, Mashiach cometh, which is called Christos. When he come, he will tell us all things. And that's the whole point. See, no matter where we are, brethren, if our desire is sincere to give glory and honor to the Father and not to self, if the desire is to wear his righteousness that we might render obedience to him, if the desire is to serve him in spirit and in truth, brethren, the day is going to come very shortly where Messiah is going to establish his kingdom on this earth. And all of us that are in that spirit, he's going to show us all things. No more need to debate and argue about what is true and what is not, and what is real and what is not. He's going to show us all things. He's going to teach the Israelites, and he's going to teach the Gentiles. Or should I say, he's going to use the Israelites to teach the Gentiles, because that's what the Bible tells us. So he's going to teach the Israelites, and they're going to teach the Gentiles. And everybody's going to be on the same page then. There'll be no dissension. There'll be no arguing. There'll be no debating about doctrines and about what the Bible really means. No, because the Father will be there and Messiah will be there. No need to argue. The ones that'll be there that inspired the spirit that brought the holy men, for the Israelite holy men to bring these words, like John, they're going to show us exactly what they want. That's right. And when the second resurrection comes, the whole kingdom is on the same page. 100% on the same page. Praise the Most High. See, so there you go. See, so that's why I say, we may differ. You may not understand. Or if I say I don't want to deal with the Apocrypha and you say, well, I want the Apocrypha. Okay. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to teach based on my conviction, and you move based on your conviction, as long as both of us are interested in our desire, and our goal is to give honor and glory to Yahweh. And even in that, you can say honor and glory to Yahuwah if you want. Right? Honor and glory to Yahuwah if you want. But we're giving the Father, the creator of all things, honor and glory. And we want to render obedience to him. And we understand we can't render obedience without his spirit. We understand that. See, that's why the doctrine, again, justification by faith or righteousness by faith, the most important doctrine, because that will give us all the understanding. None of us deserve the eternal salvation given to us. None of us deserve the perfect righteousness that he places on us. None of us deserve to have our sins blotted out and not imputed unto us. When we understand that, and we are understanding that now at this point, our goal is to render obedience to the Father in a world that's driven by lies, in a world that's based in lies. That's the game right there. That's the whole shooting match right there. And we'll end up on the same page. Praise the Most High Yah. So let's get started now. Hosea chapter 7. Interesting. Hosea chapter 7. All right. So we did chapters 1 through 6, and we saw how the Most High is dealing with Ephraim, the northern tribes of Israel. And there's also mention of Judah several times, but the focus here is the northern tribes, right? Hosea is testifying or bearing witness of the truth of Yah to the northern tribes. And so here we are. He told us how he's going to bring them into the wilderness, right? He's going to buy them back from their whoredom. Didn't he say that? And he said, you're going to buy many days without a king, right? He said that. And then in the latter days, you're going to come back. He said the people are destroyed because they have rejected knowledge. We've seen all of that. We're going through this thing here, right? And then he shows how they're going to return unto him after they stop worshiping man and man's doctrines. See that? Now today, you're going to see some more stuff about Ephraim. Let's take a look. Verse 1, Ephraim chapter 7, verse 1. When I would have healed Israel, the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered, and the wickedness of Samaria. For they commit falsehood, and the thief cometh in, and the troop of robbers spoileth without. So he said, when he said, I would have healed Israel, what is he saying? Israel was divided into two. And he said, I would have brought them together. I would have healed them. As he showed us, he's going to do, right? I mean, that's the end result of the kingdom, is it not? I mean, he says that in multiple places. Again, let's just look at a couple of them. Ezekiel chapter 37 is the first one. Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel 37. I'm going to start at verse 20. Actually, I'm going to start at verse 16. Ezekiel 37 from verse 16 down to verse 28. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companion. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in mine hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and will make them one stick. They shall be one in mine hand, and the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before their eyes. And say unto them, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I'll be their most high. And David, my servant, shall be king over them. And they all shall have one shepherd. And they shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and their children's children, forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their most high, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, Yahweh, do sanctify Israel, but my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. Let me give you three witnesses for this one. Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30. I could find more, but let's just give mouth of two or three witnesses. Let every word be established. Jeremiah chapter 30. Beginning at verse 1 and go down to verse 11. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, thus speaketh Yahweh most high of Israel, saying, write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in the book. For lo, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith Yahweh. And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. And these are the words that Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. Notice he separates it. For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh of hosts saith Yahweh, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. They shall serve Yahweh their most high, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore, fear thou not my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Praise the Most High. One more. Isaiah chapter 11. Like I said, I can give you a lot more of this one, but Isaiah chapter 11, he's going to heal Israel. Praise the Most High. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 10, beginning at verse 10, and going down from verse 10 down to verse 13, notice what it says. In that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Amath, and from the isles of the sea. Watch this. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and he shall assemble the outcast of Israel. Watch how he words it. He shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. The outcasts of the northern tribes and the dispersed of the southern tribes gathered back together. So when he says, I would have healed them already, he would have healed them, but he said he found wickedness in Ephraim that stopped the healing. But it's not going to stop forever, as we just read, right? Praise the Most High. Back to Hosea chapter 7. Let's start at verse 1 again. When I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered, and the wickedness of Samaria, for they commit falsehood, and the thief cometh in, and the troop of robbers spoileth without. And they consider not in their hearts that I remember all their wickedness. Now their own doings have beset them about. They are before my face. They make the king glad with their wickedness, and the princes with their lies. They are all adulterers, as an oven heated by the baker, who ceaseth from raising after he had kneaded the dough until it be leavened. This is very important. I looked up the word raising. That means they stop heating it up so that the bread is half done. The bread is half done, right? In that day, our king, the princes have made him sick with bottles of wine. He stretched out his hand with scorners, for they have made ready their heart like an oven, whilst they lie in wait. Their baker sleepeth all night. In the morning it burneth as a flaming fire. And then the baker's not paying no attention. Now he overdid the bread. Either it's half baked or it's overbaked. But look at watch the next one. Watch verse 7. They are all hot as an oven, and have devoured their judges. All their kings are fallen. There is none among them that calleth unto me. Ephraim hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. See? Wait. Ephraim have mixed himself. Now, wait a minute. Let's think about this. What did the Bible say about Judah in terms of their captivity? What did it say about Judah? Let's look at what Messiah told us in the Gospel of Gospel of Luke, chapter 21. Look at what Messiah told us about Judah, because at the time of the Messiah, there was just Judah. There wasn't no more Ephraim. There was Samaria and there was Judah, right? So what did he say? Let's see. Luke chapter 21, I'm going to start at verse 21 and go down to verse 24. Luke chapter 21 from verse 21 to verse 24. Then let them which are in Judea, that's the tribe of Judah, that's the southern kingdom, flee to the mountains, and let them which in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter therein too, for these be days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. He's talking about southern kingdom of Judah receiving vengeance of Yah. But woe unto them that are with child, unto them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, that is the southern kingdom, and wrath upon this people, that's the southern kingdom of Judah. Because remember, the northern kingdom had already been scattered hundreds of years before. Okay, so he's talking about the southern kingdom now. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So he said they shall be led away captive. Now we know that's the slavery part, right? We know that's the slavery. But he didn't say that about Ephraim. He said Ephraim is mixed among the people. You see the difference? Ephraim is mixed among the people. So now, when you study history a little bit, right? I think we all come to the understanding that Judah settled on the west coast of Africa. I mean, they settled all in the continent of Africa, don't get me wrong, but they settled on the west coast of Africa, and from that point were taken captive into all the nations, right? So that you got Brazil, all the islands, and and all into what's now the United States of America, that were taken captive from the West African coast. Y'all know that, right? I mean, y'all got that part, right? So they were taken into captive with chains on their necks. Now, when the Europeans came to those places, when they came to what's now North America, when they came to Bermuda, when they came to what's now Hispaniola, which is Haiti and Dominican Republic, when they came to Boricua, which is now Puerto Rico, when they came to Cuba, when they came to Jamaica, when they came to all the Central American countries, when they came to those places, people was already there. You know that, right? I mean, they claim Christopher Columbus discovered something. He ain't discovered nothing. People was already there. Cabot ain't discovered nothing. People was already there. When he came to Florida, they was already there. Who was there already? Who was already there? Let's read some more. Hosea chapter 7. Let's read 8 and 9. Ephraim hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Watch verse 9. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth it not. In other words, he didn't know that he was finished. He didn't realize strangers were going to devour him when they were mixed among the people. Israelites were already there. They called them Indians, Tainos, Aztecs, Mayans, Zapotans, many different Indians, Seminoles, Chickaws, all kinds of Indians was there. And them Indians didn't live peacefully with each other either. They were fighting each other. And then when they realized this European came to kill them, they joined forces. But it was too late, because it was prophesied that these children of Yafet would take over and that their strength would be devoured. Okay? Their strength would be devoured. Okay? Now, when you see this, when you see the original Indians, whenever you see the statues they built, you tell me what they look like. Talk about the original one. When you see the statues they built of people that they're great ones that lived before the Europeans came and took over, what they look like. And you see what did they build. I left with thumbnail, and that structure that you see in the thumbnail, that was built by Aztecs. They were built by Mayans. Same type of structure. They found that structure in where the Haitians are and where the Dominicans are. Same structure. All over. Let me tell you something right now. Let me tell you something right now. And then they killed off the people of the land and replaced them. If you go to all the places, you'll see, especially like Bermuda, like for example, let's take Haiti. When they came to that land, there was Indians already there. When the French came there, they worked them to death and then replaced them with the more stockier brothers that was in the west coast of Africa. That's what happened. They were already there. And they took them, enslaved them, killed them, then replaced them with the brothers they got from West Africa. So they had Ephraim there, they killed him. Then they replaced him with Judah. And let me tell you something else. You ready? They got labeled. What they got labeled? When you want to talk about people from them areas, what do you call them? You call them what? Hispanic? Or what? What? Latino? Is that correct? You know, you go down, you get people from Mexico that come up here, or from El Salvador that come up here. You get people from all these places. What they call them? They say what? Hispanic or what? What? Latino. Isn't that what they call them? And you know what? That's like calling Hebrews Africans. Are we really Africans? Are we? Who are we? You understand? Who are we? Are we Africans? No, we're not Africans. Not if we Hebrews. We Israelites. And they did the same thing to them Indians. They said, you are Hispanic. You are Latino. Let's think about that for a second. Where does Spanish come from? Where does Spanish come from? It comes from Spain. Well, where is Spain? It's in Europe. Where does Latino come from? Where's Latin come from? Latin is the original language of Rome. It's from Europe. Y'all following me? My wife and I went to Mexico, man, and we visited several places in Mexico, man. And I'm telling you, I was looking at these people, my wife and I looking at them, and I could not call them Latino. I could not call them Hispanic. Because you know why? They had a distinct look, a red look. They looked like Indians. And my wife and I were first calling them Indians because that's what they look like. They all look like different types of Indians. And then I saw my wife and I would just they would say, oh, that's Northern Kingdom. That's Northern Kingdom. That's Northern Kingdom. Okay. That's Northern Kingdom. And so the ones that didn't die from being worked to death or die from the disease that the Europeans brought with them, because a lot of them died from the disease that came off them boats with the people from Europe. They mixed with them, which is now why you go to some of these lands, and unfortunately, you got people so-called in the Dominican Republic that don't want to know nothing about them being from Africa. They want nothing to know that their skin is brown because they're really Hebrew. No, they're white, they'll say. They're white, mixed among the people. They won't even acknowledge their Indian heritage. Same with the Puerto Ricans. I'll tell you a story. Here's another real story. I used to work in a bank. I was in once upon a time, another life ago, another couple of lives ago, I graduated from college and I was in a management training program. And there was a Puerto Rican young man like myself that was also in the management training program. We immediately connected like brothers. But then they brought this other young lady into the management training program. And she talked very, the King's English. That diction was good. And she was very fair skinned. And her name was like Spanish. It was like Gonzalez or something. And I said, you Spanish? And then my man said, she's really Rican, man. But she wanted to be a gringo. That's what he told me. He said, she really Rican, man. But she wanted to be a gringo. Ephraim is mixed among the nations. See that? They're mixed among the nations. And the thing is, they became the most idolatrous. I mean, you got to look at their history. When you look up Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, from from when Solomon died and his son Rehoboam became king. Look that up in the Kings, man. I mean, they went off. He put up 2 calves, and then Dan followed up and put 2 calves over there. And they just were stopping the people from coming. See, the reason they did that, because they said, the Bible said they were coming to Jerusalem to worship for the feasts. But he stopped them, and he said, keep the feast here. And they made their own feasts. It became, and they oftentimes, you read 1st, 2nd Kings, they mention Jeroboam the son of Nebat. He is infamous, man. He is infamous. And the Father gave him the northern kingdom, and that's what he turned it into. So that's where they became the most idolatrous of all. And that's why they was dispersed. You'll see more. Let me just give you a quick preview real quick. Notice Hosea chapter 8. We're going to read this tomorrow, but notice Hosea chapter 8, verse 8. Hosea 8, verse 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. Who that sound like? Wait a minute. Chapter 9, verse 17. My Most High will cast them away because they did not hearken unto him. They shall be wanderers among the nations. Come on now. That's not Judah. That's not Judah. That's Israel. That's the northern kingdom. That's not Judah. We weren't wanderers among the nations. We settled in Africa. They came and got us, sold us. The Hamites sold us to Japhet. They came and got us. No, the Indians were wanderers among the nations. Every place on this earth, there's Indians. Everywhere. I don't care where they find. They went down to Australia, them Caucasians found them Aborigines, them Indians. They went to the Philippines and found them. They found them in Alaska. All over the place. Dispersed among the nations, wanderers. All over this land called America, the Indians were everywhere. Millions of them. And they came over here and took them over, man. Took their land, killed them, made holidays out of it. Daggone. Daggone. You see what they did? But you can see now even the turn of events coming. Why do I say that? You see how now they're changing the name of Columbus Day, right? Indigenous Peoples Day. What that means? That means it is now the awakening has started, brethren. The awakening has started. For Thanksgiving, my family, we get together and we will praise the Most High for the blessings of the year, and we will remember our brothers that were slaughtered. That awakening right there, that's happening. That's happening. Okay, already started. It is not, you're going to see more of that. You're going to see more of that. Okay, let's continue. Hosea chapter 7. But see, this is my conviction. I'm just giving you what I've read in the Bible. That's all. That convicts me that these people that they call Latino or Hispanic are really Indians, and them Indians are really Northern tribe. That's my conviction. I'm just telling you, I look at them and I can just see it in them. I mean, it just amazes me. I can see it. But it may not be your conviction, and I don't want to argue with you about it. If you don't believe that, that's cool. I'm just giving you the proof where the Most High has convicted me. Okay? Hosea chapter 7. Let's start at 8 and 9 and continue. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon them, yet he knoweth it not. And the pride of Israel testifieth to his face, and they do not return to Yahweh their Most High, nor seek him for all this. Ephraim also is like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria. When they shall go, I will spread my net upon them. I will bring them down as fowls of the heaven. I will chastise them as their congregation hath heard. Woe unto them, for they have fled from me. Destruction unto them, because they have transgressed against me. Though I have redeemed them, yet they have spoken lies against me. And they have not cried unto me with their heart when they howled upon their beds. They assembled themselves for corn and wine, and they rebel against me. Though I have bound and strengthened their arms, yet do they imagine mischief against me. They return, but not to the Most High. They are like a deceitful bow. Their princes shall fall by the sword for the rage of their tongue. This shall be their derision in the land of Egypt. In this case, Egypt. Y'all know what that means, right? In this case, Egypt. What's Egypt? Now we know Egypt is Mizraim, right? A Hamite. But we also know it has a double meaning in the Bible. What's the other meaning of, there you go, Brother Hunt. That's exactly right. It is also the house of bondage. So he said, this shall be their derision in the land of Egypt, in the house of bondage. We know that, right? House of bondage. So their derision in the house of bondage. In every place they went, they were in the house of bondage. Every place they went. House of bondage. Okay. There you go. There you go. Praise the Most High. So that was chapter 7. I gave you a little glimpse into chapter 8 and 9, but we're going to definitely go through that because there's a lot in there. So we're going to go through that tomorrow by the grace of the Most High, chapter 8 and 9 of Hosea. Praise the Most High. That's why I believe the Most High impressed me to study this book, because it is to me, it is testifying as to who the northern tribes are. To me, it's testifying. You know, the enemies try to tell us, you know, one thing, oh, they're lost and they never be found. There's nothing lost that cannot be found in the word of the Most High. Just like they didn't believe who we are. They still don't believe who we are, although some of them are now bearing testimony about that. They're bearing witness as to who we really are. Ephraim is not necessarily lost either. The Bible gives us hints as to what happened to them. Yeah, no problem. No. Oh, I see what you're saying, Brother Williams. Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it. We'll catch up. We're gonna go there anyway. So we get in chapter 8 next. But yeah, so you will see as we continue. Matter of fact, tomorrow I think I will, by the grace of the Most High, share with you some Jeroboam the son of Nebat, so you can know what I was talking about there when we talking about what he did and how that whole situation started. But we'll start that tomorrow by the grace of the Most High. Thank you again for posting the chapters, though, Brother Williams. You're so faithful to that. We praise you and Sister Bathamam, Sister Isha. You always do the thing right, man. Praise the Most High. Thank you for that. All right, praise the Most High, and praise the Most High for all of y'all. Please pray for us that we be faithful to the conviction of bringing glory to Father Yah. Not always the perfect servant, for sure, but I am trusting in the Father's perfection of righteousness. And so please, God, ask the Most High to continue to guide my steps in the way I'm supposed to go, that I might bring honor and glory to him. As the Apostle Paul says, lest I have taught others and I myself be a castaway. So let's pray for each other for that. Thank you, my brethren, for your blessings. Thanks for those that have contributed to the Raw Hebrew Remnant Ministry today. I give praise and honor to Yah for you. And let's continue to pray for each other as the Messiah has taught us to do. Shalom.